I can change that with my RCS. Now we're going to miss it to the left, but not so much the top. Now I'm pointing straight at it. F to lock it in. And I am going to go ahead and come to a stop over here because I'm going to demonstrate one more thing. Maybe you don't want to install that docking port alignment tool. Fool. But if you don't want to install it, maybe you have a different one. Let me show you another way to dock where you don't have that mod. And it involves moving both your ships around. That should be good, and it doesn't look like we're going to hit it. Here's a good way to dock if you don't have that mod. Go ahead and switch over to your target vessel and point it straight north or south. So I am going to go ahead and point the ship straight south so that the tail end is straight north. South on the nav ball is horizon 180. So if you find 180 and you point your ship right at the horizon, that is what I refer to as pointing south. You're basically pointing south relative to the planet. So you see Kerbal. Wow. You see Kerbal back there in the background. The South Pole is down. This is I refer to as pointing south. Let's switch back to the other craft. You'll never guess which direction I'm going to point this one. Also south. Because we're going to dock with this thing. Which way is this thing pointing? Because the bottom of this craft was pointing south. The tail end of the craft would be pointing north. That's why the top end of our craft is pointed south. You got a part pointing north, you got a part pointing south. We're going to line them up and dock that way. So watch what we do. Let's fly around first. It's easier to do if you know where dorsal is. So let's go ahead and get dorsal like that and set myself up so that I fly towards it. So I want to press K, check my RCS, watch what we're doing. We're doing this kind of live. See how my RCS is pointing down, so that makes my vessel move up. See this vessel moving down? I am moving up, and let's go towards it. I bet you that green thing shows up, and we know what that means. Because the dorsal side is up, we're going to pass that craft to the top. That's exactly what we want to do. We're just flying above it, see? And that's what this is telling us. It's down there, we're up here. So once I get up above it, I'm going to go ahead and slow down. Actually, I'll just point straight here. Here's another trick. If you're pointing at the green circle and you have RCS on, you can hold down N to slow down. See my RCS going in the opposite direction? Pressing N when you're pointing prograde will slow you down. There you go. Now we're going to flip around and point straight south now that I'm pretty much over the top. And check that out. There's the target marker down there. There's us pointing south. And all we really need to do is go towards the ship now. So let's puff towards it. Let's line up our green dot so that it's going pretty much straight at the pink thing. Even though we don't have the red ball, it's the same rules. We just use the green thing to go towards the pink thing. It's pointing straight up. See, we're going to miss it a little bit. We can totally tweak that. We're going to be close enough, though. Watch. There we go. The docking magnets kick in, and we're good to go. So even if you don't want the mod, you can totally point one ship north, point one ship south, line them up on the nav ball like that, and then make them do whatever. It's orbital voodoo. I don't have the fuel for this. Oh, I totally have, because I've got the RCS too. I've got lots of, actually. Should we try and do that? Yeah, we're gonna deorbit using only RCS. So I've got another docking here. I need to EVA my Kerbals around. I am going to space to let go, R to turn on my jetpack. Flying around. There we go. And grab it and get inside. And the other guy, who was the other guy? Barmore we already delivered. Desktop's already in the desktop. Is already in the pod. Lengoon, there we go. Lengoon needs to come out. Spacebar R. Flippity fly around. Slam him into the he doesn't need to sit in the cupola. We will put him in the pod so they can all hang out and eat snacks together. Now we've got Jeb up there and we just need to deorbit Jeb. Let's do a different way of deorbiting. We'll right click on that tank. We'll right click on that tank. We'll get rid of all of our fuel. means that we're going to crash again. Whatever. That's okay. Because those weren't enough chutes, if you recall last time. Let us just do this. We know what's going to be wrong with this. Actually, here, I'll grab a little teeny tiny bit of fuel. Good enough. That will be our retro rocket. Alright, cool. And let's do the same deorbit we did last time. Did we waste a lot of time? Are we over the mountain range in Kerbal, India yet? No, we're not. So let us undock. Let us... That's odd. Let us go to here. SAS, RCS. Press the N key to puff off the station. Puff off the ship in this case. And Jeb. Where is Jeb? Is Jeb in there? Why is it not showing us Jeb's picture? Jeb. EVA. Get back in. I don't know. I do not know why it's not showing us Jeb down here. But whatever. We can still deorbit. Whether we see Jeb or not, we can still deorbit. So, you're in orbit. You've used all your fuel. Let's just act like we have. You've used all your fuel. You need to get home. What do? Do you send a rescue mission up? You might not need to. You could totally use your RCS. It may take you a little bit longer to do the burn, but you can use that RCS puffing out of the sides there to deorbit yourself. So let's plan our node again. Again, we find the mountain range. We guess about where it needs to be. I'm going to put it here. Add a maneuver. Slow us down. What did we do last time? Last time we went in the drink. And so we need to put this... That's going to land us in the mountains, I think. Let's go ahead and fast forward to that node. Remember, Kerbin's going to rotate underneath us. And that node should be over the mountain range. Nope, not quite. It doesn't look like the node was quite where it needed to be. So now that we're approaching the mountain range, I'm going to grab the node and drag it over. See where we're going to deorbit. That's way too far. That feels better. I'd rather solidly deorbit over the land. If you have a lot of delta V to burn, you can do more precise deorbits. I'm going to have to start deorbiting pretty soon. So let's get out of here using RCS. I'm going to point it like this, retrograde, also where the burn is. And I'm just going to hold down the H key. It's going to take for frickin' ever. Look how slow that is. Jeez. This is not going to be a very precise deorbit whatsoever. In fact, if I don't burn the fuel, we're not going to go anywhere near it. The important thing here is that we could deorbit. Maybe we couldn't hit KSC, but we could deorbit just using RCS. See that delta V going down. See our periaps going down. It's at 86, it's at 85, it's at 84. We could continue to do this. I'm going to try to get near KSC, so I'm going to burn this last fuel we have. Like that. That got half of our burn at least. I still don't think I'm going to make KSC. I'm just going to continue with this deorbital burn. Using only RCS, because that's all we got now. So there's the blue thingy. I'm just holding down the H key. That's the same as lighting up your engine. See how the RCS is acting like an engine? It's going out the back of the craft, just like this engine points that way. H on your keyboard points you in this direction. And we're just going to continue doing the... this mountain... Oh, really? Let's see here. This is... Oh, that's interesting. That green screen actually doesn't look too terrible. I'm amazed. I am totally not going to show the jerry-rigged thing that is the green screen behind me. But it's good enough for government work. Wow, I feel like I'm totally going to miss this here. In fact, we're well past the mountains now. I'm going to need to continue burning RCS until we're like well in the middle of this ocean. If not, maybe I should just keep burning RCS without stopping no matter what. The thrust to weight on the RCS is not spectacular. I think it puts out like 1 Newton of thrust, so we have 4 Newtons of thrust pushing us. Newtons or kilonewtons, I forget which one it is. But we have almost no thrust pushing it. This engine was putting out what, like 200, I think, 220 kilonewtons, and this is putting out 1 kilonewton. So hopefully we make it home. This pyramids. You're talking about the desert pyramids, right? Yeah. Nice. Maybe I should go put a lander there and call it the deorbit burn point or something. The deorbit burn pyramids. Alright, we just continue to burn this Delta V in the form of RCS. It takes so long to use the RCS. Not the most... We could physics warp. What's up now? Totally physics warping while using RCS. Don't try this at home, kids. And I'm going to have to keep doing it because we need to deorbit well past there. Alright, now I'm just going to keep burning retrograde, RCSing retrograde. And let's see how... let's see how that works. I think that's about all we got. Yeah, alright, good deal. Let's just get this thing deorbited. I'm apparently 10 minutes past schedule. I try to do the Kerbal Space Academy things in 2-hour blocks, and we are just at 2 hours and 10 minutes here. So let me get this deorbit done. For all I know, we're going to land on the freaking mountains, but let's find out. Oh, I can turn the lights off, I guess. I don't know where Jeb is. He's apparently in here, but he's not showing up down here for some reason. I can't really answer that question. I feel like we're going to miss KSC into the ocean again. Are we? We're always missing it. Wow, I really need to burn a lot more a lot sooner. We could totally do this KSP trick, which is pop your chutes while you're re-entering. Oh, come on, get me down. I'm going to miss it into the ocean again. Look, there's a debris from the last time. I'm doing worse this time than I did last time. Anyways, we're going to be close. Apparently, if I ever need to do a class on... oh, RCS is turned off. Maybe that's why. If I ever need to do a class on landing at the KSC, I'm going to have to practice a little bit. Physics warp off. Deploy the chutes. Point it like that. I wonder if life will be any different if we put the gear down in the water here. Not really. Wow, we overshot it badly because that was a very bad... it just took us too long to use that RCS. And I'm just going to burn straight up. Archaeological spawn probes is lice. Yeah, nice. I usually put a probes on either end of the main KSC runway. I like Whiskey and Echo, west and east, so that I can line up the runway from far away. So these things, yeah, alright. The RCS does nothing, apparently. Oh, well, it's slowing us down like by 0.2 meters per second, whatever. And the more we burn, the less weight we have. I mean, this is so much more RCS than we needed. Here goes some engine parts we're going to lose. Oof. Apparently all that did was make the struts, the landing gear, hit us. Needs more chutes. This was not chute balance class. Chute balance Kerbal Space Academy. This was orbital rendezvous. So I think we did a pretty good job of that. Let's grab Jeb back to the place with the buildings that build rockets. And burn until it's 260. Alright, we can try that next time. Excellent. There's Jeb. He got recovered. He just wasn't... He was camera shy or something, which doesn't sound at all like Jeb. So anyways, that was Kerbal Space Academy for this evening. Going through orbital rendezvous and docking. We did a couple different things. The first time we used the home and transfer to get the rendezvous with the craft. So all we did there, target in a nice circular orbit, both the periaps and apoaps about the same height. Our rendezvous craft, get into a nice circular orbit. We did it lower. You could do it higher. Remember, it just depends on who's going to catch up to who. And we set that node. We use the cool little maneuver node thing where you right-click on the maneuver node and you click on the plus orbit thing to set that 9 orbits in the future. And then we executed the burn and did the rendezvous. For the second one, the direct rendezvous, we had a well-designed craft, 1.7 on the launch pad, 1.7 for the kicker at least. Launched when our target was over Kerbal, India, and did that direct rendezvous. Through all the different types of rendezvous, the important thing was pushing the green X over the pink Y. So get within striking distance, get within about 20 kilometers, and then push the green X over the pink Y so that you're still closing with it, but you're bending it over. Remember, burn off to the side of the green X so that it moves over and overlaps the pink Y, and that is what allows you to get those really close encounters. Then when you get there, coast on in, slow down, you should be good to go. I know I glazed over a lot of stuff. I always like to end with a question-answer session, so if you have any questions on stuff that I did, I can give it another 10 or 15 minutes here to demonstrate something again, or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and get caught up on the chat, and if you're good to go, if you enjoyed Kerbal Space Academy, give us a follow. If you're going to take off now, that's cool. I'm going to take a couple minutes break after I check the chat and answer any questions. I usually go grab a snack, hit the head, that sort of stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll do some DOS free play. Not sure what the challenge will be tonight, but that's for y'all to type over into the chat. So we always learn some stuff in Kerbal Space Academy, then we play around in Kerbal Space Program and crash stuff. Last night we landed on the moon using only SRBs. Bob is still alive. He probably needs to be rescued. Maybe we'll have a challenge involving that in some wacky way. But anyways, let me get caught up with the chat. Can I do a KSA on building and the use of rovers? I can definitely do that. I'll post it up when we're going to do a session like that. What's up, Master Mapmaker? You're catching the end of Kerbal Space Academy. We just did Orbital Rendezvous and Docking, kind of 101. So thanks for joining us. We're about to do some free play, basically screw around. Y'all can come up with a challenge for me to try and do. And I'm about to answer some questions on the Rendezvous and Docking. So, what computer setup do I use? I've got an Intel Core, whatever the heck, Duo i7, blah, 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 4 gigahertz, 16 gigs of RAM. One of those 760 Ti graphics cards by NVIDIA. It's a pretty beefy computer. It's apparently able to stream me and run KSP at the same time. So what I need to do, I guess, is put that down in the channel description. I don't even know off the top of my head exactly what it is. I built it a couple years ago. But maybe I need to add down to the channel description the specs of the system that I use. Because it seems like one person asks me that every stream. So, wrecked, half wrecked. Made it home safe. Anyone you can walk away from. Building and use of rovers, we can totally do that. That is something I'll do in the future. I'm going to set up a little website or something where I can post the schedule so you at least know in advance. Maybe I'll have some sort of... I've never tweeted anything in my entire life, but maybe I'll set up something where you can follow the account on Twitter, and then I can tweet you when we're about to go live or something. I need to get a little bit more organized, but the plan is to do Kerbal Space Academy sessions every week and have a kind of a progression sort of thing. So if you show up on Monday, you'll be on the ground at the Space Center. If you come to every session every day until Friday, you should be launching a space plane up to Rendezvous with the station by the end of the week. That's the plan. We're always going to try and make it a little bit different every time we do it, a little bit different craft, a little bit different challenge, that sort of stuff. But the plan is to repeat the kind of same basic KSP concepts every week, because I think it's freaking awesome, and I like to help people figure out how all this wacky stuff works. Let us see. Large space station. Gav. We definitely have... I can do that really quick, actually. Let me answer that question for you, and I'll show you what's going on. I'll build a really terrible space station really quickly, and I'll build a really good space station. A lot of the wobble on the space stations when you do the docking is because you have A, either too many different parts, or B, you're not docking against the center of mass. Here's what that means. Say you have a station that looks like this. That's a good station part. And we're gonna like slap this thing on here, and we're gonna do a thing here. Let's see, one of these. Where's that little part at? There we go. You, and then this thingy, and then like some girder segments, little wingy-ding thingies, and then we're gonna put, I don't know, one of these thingies. I mean, check this out. We're totally keeping our Kerbals safe by putting them away from the fuel, right? And then I'm going to grab a couple of these fuselages, slap them on there. Drat. Euphoric symmetry. That's terrible. It's just terrible. Alright, we do that. Actually, you know something? You're dumb part. I'm just going to put a regular thing there, such as a... one of these. And I'm going to do it with symmetry. Forks radially attached, like... oops. This. I know I'm not saying what parts I'm using. I'm tossing this together as an example. So there's fork symmetry with the radial attachment points. Failed clampotrons if you are a student of the lore. There's fork symmetry. Let's toss some docking ports on there. Where you at? You're under utility. Like that. Alright, so say that's your station, right? This is awesome. I mean, there's a hitchhiker up here. There's some docking stuff. And then there's this big fuel tank down here. That's, I don't know, in case the fuel explodes or whatever. The Kerbals are safe. They're well away from it, right? That's your station design. What's going to happen, right? Look at this station. Look where the center of mass is. The center of mass is way freaking down here, right? When I dock, let's illustrate our docking. Let's act as if this is a little ship that's docking. Where you at? Grab a little pod thingy. There's a pod thingy. There's another docking port. Like this. Alright, I'm going to build it backwards. Not in fork symmetry, though. There we go. Put it in engine. And a fuel tank. So there's a little fuel tank. Fuel tank action. Slap a poodle on there. Where you at, poodle? There you go. Alright, so check that out, right? We have a ship that's docking with this station. Okay? I can use RCS build aid to show what's going to happen. So I'm going to turn build aid on. I'm going to go to... That's interesting. Huh, how do I go to engines? There we go, engines. Alright. I turned on my engine, right? And let's say that engine's not actually on, but you've got some momentum that's going in this direction, which is the same thing that would happen if this engine was turned on. See, the engine's going this way, and we have some momentum going this way. So imagine that the engine's turned off, and the craft is coasting up to the space station this way, right? The center of mass is way freaking down here. We're putting force against it on this docking port here. So what's RCS build aid tell us is going to happen? It's telling us that when we dock this ship up here and we coast up against it at a couple, like 0.2, 0.3 meters per second, and we apply a force to that docking port, we've got this huge lever arm down to the center of mass, and that whole station is going to start to rotate, right? If you have SAS turned on, the station's going to want to stop rotating. And in order to do that, it's going to try and use whatever reaction wheels it has available. This one only has the reaction wheels on the craft. It's only going to make things worse. It's going to apply a force from the reaction wheel up here. It's going to make all these parts bend, right? Because we've got all these struts and stuff in between. And this entire station is going to start going weebly wobbly like this as it bends along those girders. So it'll bend here, it'll bend at this, it'll bend at this, it'll bend there. And as it bends, it'll be applying more and more force with the SAS on this pod, but the center of mass is way the heck down here. It can't move it. And it's going to keep wobbling back and forth. How can we fix it? If you're following me, if you're following me so far, how can we fix that? We can fix it, most of our wobble, just by taking our docking ports and putting them on the station on the center of mass. So let me set that down to 1x symmetry. There's 1x symmetry. Check out what happens now. So if I dock this craft against the station on the center of mass, and I move those docking ports down like that, the only force we're going to get is pushing it in this direction. We're not going to get that unintended rotation where the entire station wants to wobble because we've applied a force on a long lever arm over the center of mass, right? It's still going to wobble a little bit because we've got some mass out here, and these parts are going to wobble. But because we're docking straight against the center of mass and there's no SAS units out here, like we didn't toss one of these guys way out on the end of this lever arm, it won't wobble too much. You can fix it even more by doing this. Take whatever mass you have and put it down closer to the station, right? Make your station more compact, like that. And instead of having that really long lever arm on it, by keeping it more compact like this, when you dock against it, see now we've got a little bit of rotation, we can change it, and when we dock against this station, it won't wobble because we don't have all of those unintended joints in there. So it's really a twofold answer. One, try to dock against the center of mass, and two, try to keep the station more compact. Instead of having girders out the wazoo going in every different direction, try to keep it a little bit more compact. I hope that answers your question. Who was that? SAS modules, like the rover idea, we'll definitely do that. There's the pyramids. Yeah, rovers. The flag for epic missions, let me have a look at that. The Nyan cat, nice. Okay, Gav, that was the person who asked the question. Gav, I hope that answered your questions on some of the station building stuff. Trying to minimize the length of the station, the number of joints, and whenever you dock things, try to dock against the center of mass. Or even if you're not docking, hey, this is probably an important point. Let's take our little craft off. Say we did this, and say we put this reaction wheel way out on the arm like this. It's the same sort of thing. We can apply force against the station. The force will come from that reaction wheel. It'll be applied on this long arm, and this will wobble, right? What we can do to fix that is take that reaction wheel and try to split the difference on the center of mass like this. So actually, might as well be pretty. Put one reaction wheel there, get another reaction wheel and put it down here at the bottom. We'll do it like this. Like that. And you could just put a reaction wheel there. And now, whenever the station gets some momentum, you want to try and turn it. It's going to be applying force here. It's going to be applying force here. The force is balanced out, and there's not a big lever arm between it and the center of mass. I've only got one part connection here, and that part's not going to wobble very much. So those are some ways to keep the stations from wobbling. I mean, I know we all want to build it like the ISS with these little girders that go off in every direction. In KSP, because of the way that Unity models the joints, building an ISS without struts out the wazoo can make your station kind of flibbity-flobbity. If you absolutely must have a long lever arm made of struts like this, don't put very much mass out there, and definitely don't put any control authority. Don't put any RCS modules or SAS modules way out there. So, Luis, you said another excellent thing. I mean, we could do an entire segment on that. What Luis said there, turn off the SAS modules. I actually, with some of my bigger crafts, I will set an action group on the craft that's 0, and that's basically shut down the craft, right? It turns off all of the engines, and it turns off all of the SAS control on the pods and any reaction wheels on the craft. So whenever I'm coming up to the station, right when I'm about to dock, I'll hit 0 on my docking craft, and that'll kill all the control authority there. It'll just come and it'll dock, but it won't try to shake the station apart because you have all that craft's control authority out on some sort of lever arm. So that's another really good thing. You can either right-click on it and disable the SAS on the pods and the reaction wheels, or you can set up an action group like 0 that basically shuts down the craft for docking purposes. That's a good idea, Luis. Thanks for putting that over there in the chat. No schedule needed. I like surprises. Well, then don't look at the schedule. Seriously? Harry? All right. How do you duplicate items if you're in the VAB? If nobody answered that, to do that, you just hold down the Alt key and you click the item. So if I wanted to make this station symmetrical, I can hold down Alt, I can click there, and it'll give me a copy of everything from there on out. So hold down Alt and click on the item. Anything else? Yeah, Luis answered that. I appreciate it. Yeah, the center of mass may be a big issue. Having the center of mass off in one place, then a lot of parts allowing to flex, like with the girders and that sort of stuff before you get there. Single stage to the moon. That's been done before. An SAS in the middle, never thought having. Yeah, Gav, that may help you with having one on either side like that. Also, the center of mass, trying to balance the control authority against the center of mass. That station. Jeez. Who puts that? Is that probably Luis? So anyways, now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break, just a couple minutes. I'm going to hit the head. I'm going to grab a drink. If there's no other questions over there in the chat. Again, everybody who hung out, that was Kerbal Space Academy. We did about 2 hours on orbital docking and rendezvous. We did both the home and transfer orbit and the direct ascent rendezvous, where we went straight up from the KSC and on the first orbit rendezvoused with the craft. We talked about docking. We talked about how to build the craft so that it could be balanced for docking. We talked about how to use RCS build aid to help us balance that craft here in the VAB. If you just came in, or if you came in at the end of the segment, I have Twitch save all the Kerbal Space Academies, so you can go back, and after I finish this broadcast, you can go back to the beginning and watch it from the beginning. Show us building the craft, show us doing the initial launches, that sort of stuff. So I appreciate everybody that followed. It sounded like we got a lot of follows while we were doing that. That's freaking awesome. I am going to go ahead and take a bit of a break here. We'll do more Kerbal Space Academy. I will post up the schedule of what we're doing. I'm not sure when the next episode is going to be. I cannot stream tomorrow, but we'll see what's going to go on with the next episode. I'll post it up in the channel. Give me a follow. Maybe I'll set up a website, Twitter, that sort of stuff. But anyways, I hope you learned some stuff. If you're going to take off for now, that's awesome. Thanks for hanging out. And I am going to take a quick break. You'll see the stream hiccup. All I'm doing is cutting the Kerbal Space segment, and then we will begin a new segment that is the DOS free play, or the challenge, or the career mode, or whatever it is. If you got a challenge for me, post it over in the chat. And wow, 169 followers. We got 20 more followers tonight. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, the RCS helper is a mod. Let's see here. To bring it up, you click on it. You install the mod first, and then you click on it up in Blizzy's toolbar. If you don't have Blizzy's toolbar, that thing should just be floating somewhere, and you would just click on that icon. That's what toggles the RCS build aid window. Yeah, links down in the channel description for that download. So, I'll check the chat when I come back. Stream's going to hiccup. I'm going to be back. It won't be off for more than a couple seconds. It's just so I can splice the Kerbal Space Academy segment off of the rest of the flea play? The width of the flea play stuff. So when the stream hiccups, don't go anywhere if you want to see the free play stuff. I'm going to get a drink, hit the head as well. So, how do I do that? There's like buttons I can press or whatever. I don't even know. Alright.